Europe bans Russian diesel, other oil products over Ukraine.
Here's a summary of the article.
Frankfurt, Germany. Europe imposed a ban Sunday on Russian diesel fuel and other refined oil products, slashing energy dependency on Moscow and seeking to further crimp the Kremlin's fossil fuel earnings as punishment for invading Ukraine. The goal is allowing Russian diesel to keep flowing to countries like China and India and avoiding a sudden price rise that would hurt consumers worldwide, while reducing the profits funding Moscow's budget and war. The new sanctions create uncertainty about prices as the 27-nation European Union finds new supplies of diesel from the US, Middle East and India to replace those from Russia, which at one point delivered 10% of Europe's total diesel needs. The price cap of $100 per barrel for diesel, jet fuel and gasoline is to be enforced by barring insurance and shipping services from handling diesel priced over the limit. Once we have these price caps set, we can squeeze the Russian price and deny Putin money for his war without a price spike that's going to hurt Western economies and developing economies, said Thomas O'Donnell, a global fellow with the Washington-based Wilson Center. The diesel price cap will not bite immediately because it was set at about what Russian diesel trades for. The cap aims to prevent Russian gains from any sudden price spikes in refined oil products.
This post received a score of 10,000, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Pity South Africa is still arse-creeping Putin, and by buying Russian oil, we are supporting the massacre of the Ukrainians and Putin's war crimes.
South Africa isn't a rich nation. I don't expect much from them. What Russia needs to be classified as is, state sponsor of terror, where nobody in the West can do business with them. And anybody else who does business with them, is cut off from the West. I know this is a last resort, but Russia is getting awfully close to having that hand played against them.
Gotta give countries time to wean off the Russian tit and find alternative sources of energy.
Wouldn't that increase prices for Europe?
It depends. It's possible that Russian oil was always the better short-term option despite being the worst long-term option, and this will kick short-term profit-focused corporations into actually making the better long-term move. And what are these cheap long-term options you talk of to replace natural gas? Russia's gas prices were more or less stable since the year 2000. It was damn cheap. I'm German and I had 2 price hikes. I pay now 80% more than before the war. It is the price we have to pay, and we pay it. No need to BS that it will be cheaper in the long run.
Greater than, and what are these cheap long-term options you talk of to replace natural gas? They never said cheap long-term options, only that Russian oil was a cheap short-term option. Though cheap long-term is usually expensive short-term. If we completely shifted to renewables, it's estimated to currently cost $62 trillion to completely convert energy. I can't find a yearly global price on energy, but considering it has increased 2 to 4% globally every year, it's only going to become more expensive to produce.
The EU or Europe?
If it was just the headline, I'd let it slide, but they say it too in the body.
Especially when they are referring to a product made in a country with a capital and the majority of their population in Europe.
Europe bans itself in its confusion.
At the same time, Europe increases oil imports from India, which just imports from Russia lol, so you get to look like a good guy in the eyes of public while nothing really changed.
India is buying the oil well below the EU-imposed cap. So Russia is suffering, even if India makes a bank reselling the oil. Sanctions are not meant to hurt India but Russia.
90% of the oil is bought by private refineries and exported to Europe. Indian oil magnates are making bank. Indians are still suffering under high fuel prices.
This isn't strictly true, as the oil magnates are subject to heavy windfall taxes, which will subsidize the poor.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.